6th, and I have my first harvest of beets ready. And so today my plan is I'm going to make pickled beets, and I'm going to take you along and show you how to do it. Alright, so now that I have them all picked out of the ground, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut the bottoms off and the tops off. And for now I'm just putting the tops and the bottoms in here, and then this way I'll take this into the house so it's not quite as messy in the house. So let's do this. Alright, so let me just show you a little bit how to do this. So here's my beet. I'm just going to take off the end and then just take off the tops, and I try to get it as close as possible so that you're not wasting as much beet. But yeah, then I'm just putting them in a bowl so that I don't carry as much dirt into the house. Okay, so now I have all my beets in here, and I saved a couple that I'll show you in a different video that I'm actually going to save fresh because my kids like beets on the grill. But for now, I have these in here. You can hear all the dirt in there. But I'm gonna go ahead and wash them, and then actually we're gonna cut some of these bigger ones in half and then stick them in my Instant Pot to give them a little bit of cook so that we can cut them up and get them ready for the pickling process. Washed up. Now, some of these smaller ones I'm not actually going to cut. I'm just going to cut some of the larger ones, and we're going to go ahead and put them in the Instant Pot with a little bit of water and get those where they're not all the way cooked, because obviously they're going to be cooking as I process them too. So just to get them a little bit cooked so that then the skins peel off easily, and then we can fill our jars. So yeah, I'm going to go cut them now. Okay, so the beets have been in the Instant Pot. I just put them in on high manual pressure for 9 minutes. So I actually took them out now, and they are cooling because they're too hot to touch, because I'm gonna go ahead and peel the skins off. So while that's happening, I'm getting a big pot of water to boil because I'm gonna water bath my beets. So that is on its way to boiling right now. And then I'm going to work on making my brine for the beets. So all the brine is really simple. I'm going to do 3 cups of water, and it's all even amounts. So 3 cups water, 3 cups vinegar, and then 3 cups sugar. And I'm going to go ahead and start boiling this. Now the key is when we're going to obviously peel the beets first. And so for now, I'm just going to turn this on a simmer. But I want this to be a full rolling boil when I pour them over my beets, because it has to be hot like that. And then the other thing that I forgot to mention is make sure that your jars are sterilized. Now I do this 2 different ways. I actually had to run the dishwasher this morning, so I went ahead and put my pint jars in the dishwasher. So they're actually still in there now, and I'm not gonna get them out until I actually start filling them with beets. The other way that I've done it, if you don't have to run the dishwasher, once this starts getting kind of almost to the boiling stage, I put the jars in there and just leave them in there to boil and to get them nice and hot before I fill them. So you can do them either way. All right, so my beets are ready, and gloves are optional, but I like to wear them because otherwise your hands will be stained for days. So you can tell that they're still pretty warm to the touch, but all you're gonna do is you're gonna notice that the skins are gonna just kind of peel right off, and you actually save more beet this way because then you don't waste a lot by peeling them beforehand. So just peel them like this, and then I'm going to put them in a bowl. I'm gonna peel them all first, and then I will cut them up and we'll fill jars. Okay, so my big pot of water is boiling. My brine is almost boiling. And then a trick that I learned from my mom and my grandma many years ago, so while I'm cutting up the beets and getting those put into jars, I take my flats and I go ahead and put them in a little bit of water over here. And then I just will bring them to a slight boil. And I don't know, my grandma and my mom said it always helped make sure that you have 100% seal. So I've done it for years. It does work. So that I'm gonna get that going. And now I'm gonna slice up my beets. So I'm in the process right now of filling up my jars with the brine, but I wanted to show you, I have these filled up with beets, and a little trick, you want them to the beets to come to the bottom of the rim, and something you can do is kind of just tap it along on the base of your hand to get them to settle down. Then you're going to take your hot brine, this was just boiling, you're going to want to take your hot brine, and you're going to pour it in basically to the bottom of the lip there. But one thing that you need to do to make sure you get out all the air bubbles is you take a knife and you just kind of run it down along the inside, and you can tell as I'm doing that, it brings the level of the liquid down. So you're going to want to add some more brine to bring it back up to the bottom of the lip. And then once that's done, you take a damp rag and you wipe along the rim. Just make sure that you get a good seal. Then you take your warm lids, right on the top, and you screw on. Don't screw too tight, just pretty good. And there we go, we have 2 down, 4 more to go. Filled, and I'm putting them in my rack here. I came out with 6 pints, so now I'm just going to gently lower those in, and the water should cover the jars by 1 inch, which mine do more than an inch. Then I'm going to cover them. Now with the altitude that I live in, so the beets should process for 30 minutes, but then you have to adjust for altitude. So check your altitude, see how much longer you have to adjust for. Where I live here in Wyoming, I'm gonna add an extra 10 minutes. So these will process boiling like this for 40 minutes. All right, so my 40-minute timer just went off. And so now I'm going to take them out. And what I do is I have a towel set up over there that I'll show you. I'm gonna go ahead and lift these out. I don't drop them. So just kind of lift them out of the water like that. And then I have got my handy dandy little grabber here. And I just kind of pour the water off the top. And then, ooh, looks like I may have had a jar or something that leaked. I'm gonna check that out. Next one, I just set them here. All right, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to let them sit here. I'm not going to really touch them, and I'm going to leave them actually on the counter for 24 hours to make sure that they seal. And so when that's time, I will come back and we'll see how many jars sealed and if we had any that didn't. yesterday I ended up canning beets. I showed you guys the first set that I did another batch afterwards, so I ended up with 12 pints of pickled beets this morning. And so now it is time to get them ready for storage. How do we do that? All right, so the first thing that you're gonna do is you want to make sure that all of your jars seal. Now, how do we figure that out? Well, if you just tap the top and you don't hear any of that, you know, the popping sound that we all know, if you don't hear any of that, then your jar did seal. I went ahead and checked all 12 of my jars and they all did seal. Now, what happens if you have one that didn't seal? What if you have one that ends up popping? Not a problem. You can just put it in your refrigerator. You do not want to put it in your cupboard because it is not safe for storage. But it's not a problem if something doesn't seal. You can just stick that in your fridge and obviously you'll eat that first. But all of mine did. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm just going to take a damp cloth and I'm going to wipe off all the jars. Sometimes there might be a little juice that's spilled or something. And then I'm going to clean off the top. And once I do that, then I'm going to take a permanent marker and I'm going to write on the top what is in the jar and the date that I processed it, so that I know when I get into storage this coming winter, I know the date that I need to use them. Thank you so much for watching me today. I hope this video was helpful to you as you learn to process pickled beets. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, and then you can also follow me on Instagram or Facebook. All right, we'll see you guys next time.